It seems like this story just goes from bad to worse. I came on here to do a video giving maybe just one update about this story, but it looks like I might have to give three of them, and all three of them are just horrible. So I'm gonna give you the news in the way that I believe will be from bad, I would say from bad to worse. And that's kind of hard for me to do because they're all worse in my eyes. The first update is, and I think this one been came out, was about the two women, the two bitches, who drove off that cliff with these kids in the car, killing them. Turns out that they were the only two who had their seatbelts on. The kids did not have theirs on. That means they made sure that these kids did not have their seatbelts on with a strong chance of not surviving. They must have put their seatbelts on because they probably thought there may have been a slight chance they got out of it, but just in case, you never know what may actually happen. So that shows you right there that they had intent to kill these kids because CPS was coming after them. Ironically, they leave and pack up their stuff the day that CPS gets there. By the time CPS got there, they were probably already off the cliff. That's update number one. Update number two was one of the one of the neighbors, I think, came out and said that they experienced racism in the house. I guess one of the kids told them that that's a damn shame when the kids have to go to other people in order to seek help, like Devontae Hart did when he was giving out those hugs. That's what he was doing. He was seeking help, but no one could really hear him. No one heard him at all. But it doesn't surprise me that they said they faced racism in the house. Remember, one of the parents, or one of the, if you want to call it that, had abuse charges against her within, I think, that time frame of them having these kids. So it doesn't surprise me that there was racism going on in the house either. A lot of people think that, oh, if a white person adopts a black kid, then that somehow absorbs them of racism, and it does not. Hell, it probably makes it even worse. That was update number two. Now, update number three. Now, y'all may need to sit back for this one if you're not aware of this already. But I found this out on Tariq Nasheed's Twitter account. It came out today, or maybe within the last day, that the biological aunt of Devontae Hart and two of his siblings, the two biological siblings, because you remember the other kids, they weren't biologically related to him, but just by adoption. But his two biological siblings, their aunt was trying to adopt them because it said that their mother was strung out on drugs. She was a drug abuser. And she kept getting denied over and over and over again. And one day the aunt had to work and she mistakenly left the children in the care of their drug addict mother. And I think she realized that was probably the single most biggest mistake she made because it became very costly. The reason being, CPS found out that the kids were in the care of that mother, where she shouldn't have been anywhere near the children. And they found out that it was the aunt that left them with her. And it was in that one small incident that caused CPS to take the kids away from the aunt, put them in the system, and that's how they ended up with those two white women that ultimately abused and killed them. I wouldn't be surprised if sexual abuse came out of it too, because when I see some of the way that they were dressing and the way that they had Devontae Hart dancing in that video in his underwear, like that, I can't get that image out of my mind. I just can't. But it says something about the system because a lot of people were saying, well, why didn't anyone try to fight to get them? Why couldn't a black person get them? This aunt was trying to get the kids, but they kept denying her. But the minute that they make a move, they remove the kids from her care. And immediately when this white lesbian couple says we want to adopt some black kids, boom, there they go. Without question, did they even do a background check on them? Probably not, because they would have had, if they did, they would have known that they were unhinged. See, in this establishment, they don't care if the white family or a white couple, whether they are heterosexual or lesbian or homosexual, they don't care. As long as they're white, they will hand them over. I think in the child foster care system, I think it's mostly a lot of black kids in it. I was reading one of the comments, and they said in Canada, or one of those provinces in Canada, most of the kids that's in foster care or in those homes are of Jamaican descent. Because if you know Canada, most of the black population up there is from the islands, whether it's Trinidad, Jamaica, and many of the other islands in the Caribbean. And it almost sounds like borderline slavery. Like they had to do what they could to get these kids away from this aunt who was trying her damn hardest to get the kids into her care, and put them with these two women who they probably knew nothing about, and now they're dead. If I was the aunt, I would find a way to sue CPS or whoever it was that dealt with the kids back then. And mind you, this was back in 2010 when the kids were taken away from her. We're talking 8 damn near 10 years ago. And she probably doesn't, and after the kids were taken away, she probably was not able to have any more contact with those kids. I can only imagine what she had to go through not being around her nieces and nephews. Kids that she practically was borderline raising herself, because I'm guessing it was either maybe her daughter or maybe daughter-in-law could not care for the kids because she was strung out on drugs. And they were snatched up by that system and placed in the care of these two evil witches, and now all of them are dead because of them. So not only do the two women who adopted them are have fault, but they're dead, so they can't do nothing, but CPS is at fault too. So I'm gonna need that aunt to find a way to sue them. But you know what they're going to use against her? Oh, well, she left the kids in the care of the mother, and that's why we had to take them. But you gave them to these two women who you didn't even know and clearly didn't do a good background check on, and now they're dead. At least with the aunt, they were still alive. And to be quite frank, when they were in the care of the mother, even though she was a drug addict, they weren't dead in her care either. But these two women right here, who knows what they were going through from the time those women signed that dotted line and they released those kids to them. Who knows what was going on from the very beginning all the way up to the very end. Who knows what was going on in that van ride on that way to that cliff? What was discussed? Can you imagine what they were probably talking about? If they even talked at all? That was probably very scary for those kids to know that their last moments would be in that van and that they would go over it. I'm telling you, this system was only designed for one group of people. And if it damn sure ain't us.